Going on? It is time for Tao of the Day. This is Martin John, I don't know, I'm going to call myself a Tao scholar because I'm out here doing the Tao stuff. And I love the Tao. The Tao Te Ching stands for translates as the canon of reason. And it's about living a reasonable life. And it's about living as you. And this is the Tao of the Day. It is Tuesday, sometime in December, December 7th. And I'm doing the Tao of the Day. So why don't you join me and give me a number between 1 and 81. We'll read your Tao for the day and we will go through it line by line. So make sure you have a little something to meditate on for the day. The Tao is such a beautiful text. It is all about just kind of being present. One of our wonderful speakers here on Wisdom, Andy Scarantino, posted one of the Tao today. I don't know the number of it. I'm sure I can find it. Um, but the traveler has no fixed plans. And yeah, number 27. A good traveler has no fixed plans. I'm just reading this because she posted it and I thought it was a great one. The traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets his intention lead him wherever it wants. You see, like the good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever it wants, wherever the intuition wants to go. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. Thus, the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone and doesn't waste anything. That is called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand that, you will get lost, however intelligent you are. It is the great secret. So I read that. That was the first. It was the first Tao I read this morning because Andy Scarantino, once again, she's somebody that is here, one of our speakers here on Wisdom, as well as the host of Get the Fuck Off podcast, and she's on Instagram and whatever. But I saw this on Instagram this morning and just wanted to share it with you. She has come on this show a couple times, and it's always good to have her on as we go through the Tao together. But I just wanted to kind of share that with you because a good traveler has no fixed plans, which means don't have plans for what you think you need to be doing. Don't have plans of what you think you need to be going. So many people want to get themselves wrapped up in this idea of who they're supposed to be, who they want to be, other than who they are. But really, it's who you are right now. That is the best version of you. And of course, tomorrow you're going to be a different version of you. And that is going to be the best at that moment. But that version of you is not the best version of you today. So if you think you're the best version of you today and you wish you would have had that years ago, well, it wouldn't have been the best version of you at that point. The best version of you is where you are right now. So let go of having fixed plans and ideas of who you're supposed to be, identities that you hold on to, all of that kind of stuff. Like at the end of this, it says, "What is a good man but a bad man's teacher?" That's in you. You're not here trying to teach another person anything. What is a bad man but a good man's job? That is you every day. And that is why, if you don't understand this, you're going to get lost, however intelligent you are. It's not about you teaching other people anything. It's about you growing into the perfect you tomorrow. Not because, but from the perfect you today. So I just wanted to share that with you. It was a wonderful way to wake up. So I want to thank Andy for that, posting that on Instagram. She's been on a journey, and it's been great to follow her on Instagram. And her podcast has been laying out a bunch of things. So I encourage you to check that out when you get an opportunity. Get the Fuck Off podcast. She's doing great work. So, if you have a number between 1 and 81 you want to share with me, come on. Let's just all you got to do is come on, hit the button, let me know what number that is. Pick any number between 1 and 81 and I will and we'll be guided together. You don't have to know what you're going to say. You don't have to think of anything. You just join me and we will work through this together. Let's see. I'm going to start with one And I'm looking, and 42 keeps calling me. I know I've read 42 before, but it is calling me, so it's going to be my Tao for today. And let's see what it says. No, it looks like I haven't read this one. I don't think I have. The Tao gives birth to one. One gives birth to two. Two gives birth to three, and three gives birth to all things. All things have their back to the female and stand facing the male. When male and female combine, all things achieve harmony. Ordinary men hate solitude, but the master makes use of it, embracing his aloneness, realizing he is one with the whole universe. Whoa. So this is a big one. And if nobody joins me today, so be it. I can probably talk about this for the next hour. But I would love if you were to join me. I can always come back to 42, but I'm going to start parsing this one apart because we have to go forward and back quite a bit in order to get the full understanding of what's going on here in 42. And first of all, it should be said that at the end, this is of course resonating with me quite deeply. The master makes use of solitude, and I have been doing that quite a bit lately. And actually, I'm planning a dark retreat where I go and spend 8 days in the darkness, in a room that has no light. And embrace your aloneness, which is aloneness and loneliness are different things. Realizing he is at one with the whole universe. Okay, so we end there. We end with at one with the whole universe, and then in the middle we talk about this male and female. Now I've been playing with some ideas that revolve around the male and female concepts, and so I want to start there. I want to start with this concept of the male and the female. So the male is the structure. Okay, the structure is the thing that we use. The structure is not the thing that we use. The structure is like the walls and the brick and the roof of the house. The structure is the manifestation. And yet what we use and what so the Tao gives birth to one. One gives birth to two, two gives birth to three, three gives birth to all things. Okay, the Tao gives birth to the masculine, right? To yang energy. The Tao gives birth to structure, right? So, in order for structure to exist, the Tao gives birth to it. The Tao is behind the structure, because without the Tao, the structure couldn't exist, right? A planet cannot exist without the Tao, without the universe, without space, without all of this, right? The Tao the Tao gives birth to the structure. The structure then gives birth to the space. So the universe is within a structure, and then our planet is a structure, and then the house is a structure. All of those structures. So one gives birth to two. Like the concept of building a house is going to be what gives birth to the house. Catherine, my buddy, we are talking about 42 currently, but I want to know what your number is.
59.
First of all, I want to send you a little love. I miss you. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
I had such a weird last few days being so busy that I was like, oh my God, what day is it? And then I thought it was I thought it was Wednesday yesterday and today was Thursday. That's how crazy
Oh,
it's been. I'm like, oh,
man.
thank God, it's only Tuesday. I have lots of time.
Well, let me send you a little hug just to keep you supported. I know these days, like there was a podcast I was just mentioning, that Andy Scarantino has a podcast, and she was talking, get the fuck off, and she was talking about how December, you only really have 20 days in December because everything shuts down. But it's always, December could always be a difficult time. But I hope that you feel supported and that you get everything that you're getting done.
Oh yeah, it's all good stuff. Of course, we don't do presents or any of that stuff for the
Right.
holidays. So, it's all good, but I will take the hug and return it, my dear.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so 59.
59. Have we
For
done this?
governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation. The mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas, tolerant like the sky, all pervading like sunlight, firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind. He has no destination in view and makes use of anything life happens to bring his way. Nothing is impossible for him because he has let go. He can care for the people's welfare as a mother cares for her child.
Wow. We haven't had this one.
No, I have not read this one on this program ever.
Wow. It's a miracle.
It is. Like and the one that I picked, this 42 earlier, is I've never read either, so I'm really excited about getting back to that. But let's start here. So, for governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, right. Like we, no matter which way you go in our political landscape, like moderation is not really on the menu
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, throw the baby out with the bathwater, really, with that
everywhere
one.
you go. Yeah.
But even with yourself, I mean, we talk about this, like just all of the rules and the structure and to be, fit into what somebody else is doing and set up all these, rigid goals and all that. To me, that speaks to that. Like, um, that is not moderation.
Right. And when I see in the Tao this idea of governing a country well, that country could, like, let's broaden the scope, and like for governing a body, whether that body be a country, whether that body be your body, whether that body be a business,
Mm-hmm.
that body, for governing a body well, there is nothing better than moderation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really kind of hits to the point of what this is talking about.
Yeah. I mean, it's where I think a lot of people are starting to move that direction in all aspects, because I've been hearing it a lot lately, and more people don't resonate with more structure, more rules, more confinement. And I'm not talking about COVID. I'm talking about like running your business or just in your day-to-day life, like having the ability to follow your intuition, to follow your dreams. People are quitting jobs left and right. So I think that is very true.
Yeah, I think we are coming to a head of, like, we have taken the rule-based structure as far as it can go, and we're moving away from it. And I think we're moving away from. I don't think we're necessarily moving away from it in a violent way. I think people are just coming to the realization that they need to move away from it and move into moderation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes.
The mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas.
Interesting. Well, didn't we just kind of cover that? But then that
We
goes
did.
back to my intuition stuff of let go of your chattering thoughts.
Let go of your preconceived ideas of what you think you need to be doing and be here
Yep.
present right now.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Tolerant like the sky, all pervading like a sunlight. I love this sunlight reference because, like, the sun is going to shine on, Hitler just as much it's going to shine on a baby. It's like it doesn't matter. Like, the sun isn't making judgment. Tolerant like the sky, all pervading like the sunlight, firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind. He has no destination in view and makes use of anything life happens to bring his way.
Yeah, and that to me is so much about um, being grounded, like a tree, like a mountain,
Mm-hmm.
but in the sense of be that flexibility of things happening, and you just flow with the wind. You're still strong and standing, but you're able to sway a little bit and move and adjust as you need, But if you're so rigid like a mountain, if you're so rigid in what you need to do and you get sucker punched by something or it doesn't quite work out, it's so much harder to transition than if you give yourself that leeway of that motion and movement.
Yeah, and like just like you said, like I like that term sucker punch. If you get sucker punched, you're unable to make use of that sucker punch because you've already referenced it as a sucker punch, right? Like something can happen, and if if you if your previous ideas lead you to believe that you were sucker punched by something or sideswiped by something or what have you, you
Krueger
immediately
is what
go
I
on.
I call it the Freddy Krueger punch
Why is that?
because,
Does Freddy Krueger punch?
well, imagine if Freddy Krueger did punch you.
Like in my sleep?
Well, or when you're awake.
Like Santa?
Yeah. Yes. It's those things that you're like, oh my God,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna get out of this.
Yeah, and that's why I really like these last two lines of this part where it says, and makes use of anything that life happens to bring his way. If something does happen, it's just something happening. You're not judging it if you are not holding on to your own ideas. So once you have freedom from your own ideas of what is good and what is bad and what is expected and what is not, whatever happens, you're not necessarily going to describe it as a sucker punch. You're just going to be like, oh, this is what life happens to be bringing my way, and I can use this. I don't have to be afraid of it. I don't have to run from it. I don't have to be hurt by it, but I can use it in the whole of what I'm experiencing.
Life happens when you're making plans.
Oh man, is that the Beatles?
I would have no idea. I'm more of a monkeys kind of gal.
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't think it's the Monkees.
No,
Uh, Last Train to somewhere.
it's not a song that I know of. No,
Okay.
I not know if it was a song. Let's just say that because I'm really a fan of the monkeys, and I kind of stopped at that point.
Oh, okay. You stopped listening to music at that point.
Pretty much. I mean, 80s and Madonna a little bit and that, but
Oh,
other.
Madonna.
Eh,
Madonna. Cyndi Lauper.
yeah,
Some of my faves.
yeah, it's not really my gig. I kind of was busy reading the Wall Street Journal in high school.
Oh man. Yeah, man, that's not that wasn't me. That wasn't me. I
Yeah,
was listening to
apparently
a
I
lot of Madonna.
scared away boys at the beach by reading the Wall Street Journal, so I get kicked out from the girls group.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you'd have scared me away then. I
Yeah,
think. I would have been very intimidated. I think I still am, to be quite honest. I am intimidated by it. It is something that I can say that you intimidate me at times. Just because of the whole business thing. I think I'm inadequate in your presence.
oh, please, please.
So nothing is impossible for him because he has let go. He can care for the people's
Yes,
welfare as a mother cares for her child.
yeah. I mean, I think that's when we let go and allow things to unfold and follow our intuition, follow the path that leads ahead. Things just kind of snap in place. I mean, just imagine this little, when you put a zipper together or something, like it just all comes together in synchronicity if you just follow and allow and relax. But we often fight it like that mountain. A mountain, is like you're not going to push me around. We when we allow that, it's the magic, and that synchronicity is like that mother of it's there, it's available, it comes together for you.
Yeah, and we go back and forth between like the country and the body, right? For governing, because this whole thing is about governing a body well,
Hmm.
and moderation. When we get into this final stanza or whatever part of this chapter, we say nothing is impossible for him.
Yep.
Nothing is impossible for
Nope.
him because he is he is living within moderation. He's living without his personal ideas of things.
Yep.
So nothing even starts as impossible. Everything is possible because he is here, present with the moment, tolerant like the sky, and able to see things as they are. He's firm but supple and has no destination in view. So he's not heading anywhere. Nothing is impossible for him, but he's also not going to make a thing his goal or his vision. He is going to allow those things to take place because he's let go of all of that. He can care for people's welfare. He doesn't have to put himself first, which so many of us like to do. We want to make sure we're taken care of first. But because he has let go, he can care for the people's welfare as a mother cares for her child. Because a mother will protect her child.
Well, they're supposed to.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's about, relaxing, and when you let go and when you allow to relax, I mean, just relax into some things. Be kinder to yourself, and don't force yourself to be things that you're not. Don't overthink everything or try to be everybody else. When you relax, that's when synchronicity happens, because when synchronicity begins to happen, it's that knowing of the unknowing. You recognize how things come together. You don't really know why, and that's because when people let go, they don't really worry about what's possible, what's impossible, but they think about those synchronicity moments and go, I don't know how I couldn't have done that. It seems impossible, but in front of them, it's possible. It's just simplifying your life in a way.
Yeah, it's
It,
moderation.
yeah, we just need to simplify and not like make it easy or all that. Just, man, we make things so difficult.
Yeah, and we often make things so difficult and uncomfortable in the light of trying to make them easy and
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's being comfortable in that space of not knowing, being comfortable in that space of letting go of your own ideas, becoming free from your own ideas, becoming tolerant like the sky. The sky doesn't care what you do and how you do it. And the sunlight is going to shine on you either way.
Yep.
You can be firm with who you are, but supple to other people and allow them to be who they are.
Yeah, and I think of the sunshine too. Even when it's cloudy, sometimes the rays they still find a way through.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I like
Mm.
this one.
This is a good one.
Yeah,
I always appreciate you coming on, and I am grateful to say that we have Kristen Brown waiting to come on. So I'm going to bring her on. I'm gonna send you off. But it was great talking with you, as it always is. My best to you and your fam, and we'll be in touch soon.
same to you, my dear. Sending love.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye bye. And we are bringing Kristen on. Kristen Brown, I believe it was. I don't have the name in front of me. Kristen, how
Hello,
are you?
Martin John. I'm doing great today. How are you?
I am doing very well indeed. Are you gonna bless me with a number that we can talk about?
Well, I can bless you with a number, which I would love to do, but I first want to talk about solitude and alone time, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah. That
Because
was 42 we were talking about. Yeah.
yes, that was 42,
So
and I had my own
yeah, let me
experience.
read that again just so we
Sure,
can kind of.
please do.
The Tao gives birth to one, one gives birth to two, two gives birth to three, three gives birth to all things. All things have their backs to the female and stand facing the male. While the male and female, when the male and female combined, all things achieve harmony. Ordinary men hate solitude, but the master makes use of it, embracing his aloneness, realizing he is one with the whole universe. So, what are your thoughts?
Mm, wow. The master makes use of the aloneness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Ooh. So I've had my own experience with this, and it was something that changed my life in a big, profound way. And that was after, I don't think I've spoken to you before, so you probably don't know this part of my story. It's real short, but after a big, huge betrayal and what I call my tsunami, and my whole life was wiped out. And I thought, I need to spend time alone. I vowed to myself to remain single and celibate, to try to figure out what was the pattern in my life. Why was I keep attracting those type of relationships? And in that solitude, even though I wasn't in solitude in my environment, I was living with family.
Yeah.
It was in that time that I really truly got to know myself, and I got to value me in a way that I had never valued myself before. And I got really comfortable, being comfortable, meaning content, peaceful with, not comfortable as in a negative sort of way. I got comfortable being with me and allowing truth to come in, allowing light to come in, allowing peace to come in. And that honed me in a way that is almost indescribable, because I no longer looked to the outside world to fulfill me. I looked inward, and I still look inward to fulfill me. So I've taken off the pressure, the unknown pressure, the innocent pressure that I was putting on the outside world, on people in my life to fulfill me, and I started to fulfill myself.
That is the goal, right? Like that is what we're looking for.
Yeah. And
Like that is sustainable.
and it was something that I was like, wow, I never realized that I need more time alone, that the person I was looking for was myself.
Right.
And right. And then when I found that space, it was like unstoppable, but not in a aggressive way. It was like, I get it now. I get it in a way that I've never gotten it before.
Yeah, once we understand that, aloneness and loneliness are different things, and that, you know, we can be here present without the stuff, without the people, without all of that. Like that's a realization and an understanding that can really open our lives up to things that we were previously closed off to.
Right. And we don't even know it. Or
Well,
at least
no.
at
Well,
least
no,
I
we don't.
didn't.
We are.
At least I didn't.
Well, it's not something that's practiced. It's not something that's spoken about. Like most people, I like to talk. I mean, I focus in the realm of recovery, and so like I talk about this idea of living under the influence. And we live under the influence of our parents, and we live under the influence of our peers and our teachers and our schools and our education system, and then our economic system, and then our justice system, and we live under the influence of all of these things, which are externals, and ultimately and this is something that I think Catherine, who was just on, would be able to agree with as well, is like once we get into a place of like, as she would mention, like common law, as soon as we get into a place of being at one with ourselves, all of those things fall away. And we
Yes.
realize that we are in control of what is going on in our experience.
100%. Yeah.
And
It,
so I agree with that completely.
it's like really truly taking huge radical responsibility for your life.
And it's not radical.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we could reference it as radical, like just kind of puts a flag in the problem of just like, oh my God, this is how bad it's gotten. Because like that is just living. Like that is, like for all of these decades of asking, what are we here for? It's that. It is to live. It is to live and to know thyself, right? Like that is what this is.
And you guys were talking about simplifying, and that's to me another huge thing, is to really simplify your life. It's like, whose business am I in? Am I in my own? Am I in my neighbor's, or am I in God's business? Meaning, that's a Byron Katie thing. Meaning, in order to quit suffering, we need to stay in our own lane. We need to look inward, be with self, understand self, care for self, value self in a way that we never have before. And that's what I feel was the biggest catalyst and change in my life, was being able to really go within and trust universe, God, in a way that I've always believed in a higher power, always believed in energy. And I remember thinking, wow, I have not utilized this the way that I can. I was going to say should, but that's the wrong word. We shouldn't
Is there
have
a wrong
to.
word?
Well, right. But you know what I mean? The world is
I
like,
do.
don't say should. But
Well,
in,
like whether the world says it or you say it, like it's
what's the
like
energy behind it?
you could take on you could take that on as like as the world telling you, or you can take it on as you realizing what that is doing in you.
I agree.
And those are the things. Like if you just do it because the world is saying don't do it, if you don't use should, let's say, because the world is telling you not to use it, are you learning a lesson, or are you living under the influence of something else?
Right, right. And I think it's personal to the person. If you're shooting on all over yourself, like I should do this, I should do that, I should do this, and you're judging yourself,
And there's
then
nothing
to
wrong
me,
with that.
yeah, okay. I think it's destructive for people to judge themselves
And
repeatedly.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Like we are all where we are.
yeah.
The idea that we step into a place and say you are being destructive is a place of judgment. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like maybe they are, but we don't know them. We only know our existence, and we know how that works for us, but maybe they need to be here right now. Maybe they need to be in a place where they are shooting on themselves so that they can maybe grow in the next life or later in this one to a place of not doing that. Or maybe that is going to guide them to another understanding that we don't yet have. And
Right.
we don't know.
It's whether it is, well, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times people can stay stuck in that if they're using it in a progressive way, in a way to help them progress. Meaning myself too, is if I'm just sitting
Mhm.
here beating myself up and feeling worse and worse and worse and crawling under a blanket and hiding in the corner,
Mhm.
that's, of course, you can also, we can also say that that's where that person needs to be in that moment. And that might be true. Maybe they need that dark night of the soul to awaken to something else. That's possible as well. But I know for me, it's all about is introspection. It's looking inside and saying, what do I feel like I'm guided to do that I'm not doing out of fear?
Absolutely. I
Right.
think the verse that we read today with Catherine, which said the mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas.
Yeah.
Not holding on to the ideas that we think we have, not holding on to these ideas of what is good and what is bad and what is right and what is wrong, and understand that like that person who is crawling under their sheets and crying, they have their answer. And we as guides, as mentors, as individuals out in the world who maybe have to do that on occasion, but we also understand that, well, if you're doing that, we want you to make sure that you're also being curious about it. We also want to make
Right.
sure that you're asking yourself the questions that need to be asked in order for you to recognize that this isn't bad what you're doing, but it may not be how you want to be living your life.
Exactly. Yes, I agree
Yeah,
with that. Yeah.
absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
it's like, what does this do? Like, yeah. Where
Yeah,
where are you where are you going to allow this to take you? Because I've been in dark spaces, and I
absolutely.
and I recognize those dark spaces, and then I say to myself, do I like this? Do I want
Mhm.
this? Does this feel good to me? And if it doesn't feel good to me, then I seek for an answer to feel better, even if it's just a little bit, just somewhere up on the scale a little bit to feel better, no matter what that means. Maybe it just means a walk. Maybe it
And
just
maybe it means heroin, and that's okay too.
it could for some people, I guess.
And that's okay too. Like, even if that brings you to a darker place, that is your response. And if you're curious and you're loving of yourself, and this is your answer, and this is what's coming to you, that's okay. There's no judgment, and there doesn't need to be.
Right. Right.
And I think that, me coming out of addiction, right? So I'll have 21 years clean and sober in 1 week, right? So
Awesome.
like, when I mention heroin and when I mention, like, do whatever you can, maybe it's a walk. A walk is one of those things that we can all say is healthy and happy and beautiful and like, but not everybody's going to choose that. Some people are
Hmm.
going to choose Oreos.
Right.
Some people are going to choose Netflix. Some people are going to choose buying something on Amazon or playing online poker or porn or heroin.
Hmm.
And and my stance is always, well, there's no judgment in that. Like, if that's what you think you need right now, go for it. Now that you've done it, like you said, ask yourself, did that make it work? Does that make it better? Does that make it worse? And then start moving towards that which you believe can take you to a place that you want to be going. And like, as soon as we start building a hierarchy from like what is good and what is bad, we start creating in the world like all of these things, like all of this hierarchy of a walk is good and heroin is bad, or Oreos are bad and a walk is good, and that starts building in people the idea that, like, oh, what I want is bad. It's like, no, that's totally okay. Give it a go, and then get back to getting curious.
And then ask yourself, is it working for you?
That's right. Absolutely. No matter
Right.
what it is. No matter what it is. I tell people, you want to get rid of sugar? You can, like, if you think you can get rid of your sugar craving by using crack cocaine, go for it. But when you're done, ask yourself if that worked out for you.
Right.
Like, I don't care how you find the answers that you need to find, because they're in you. And so no matter what you do, it's the right answer right now. And I'm
Hmm.
not going to tell you, as like, as your mentor, as a person here, like, that you have the wrong answer. I'm just
That's
going to
right.
keep having you figure it out, because you're the only one that can figure it out.
Amen. Yes, and that's the key, and that's yes, because when we put the person back in their own power seat, like, not we don't even put them, we allow them to put
No,
themselves back in the power seat because they know what's the next best step for them.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's, like, they can do that without us, and we can help them maybe kind of sort through some of the you know thoughts that they're having that are keeping them from getting there,
Right, because
because
there's
our
the
world is so saturated with what you should be doing, what you should, right, like you were talking about earlier. The world is saturated with, like, what's the right answer, like how much clickbait out there is like, because you've been doing this thing wrong this whole time, and then click, let me find out how I've been living wrong. Like,
right, and I think as mentors, it's about asking questions and allowing people to come to their own right conclusions, meaning, capital R, right, like what feels good for them, what's of God. When we ask questions, because a lot of times people are in circular thinking, it's just, they're buffering in a zone, and sometimes that question is like the wrench coming in. It's like the wrench stopping the gears and helping them redirect maybe their thinking to something else.
yeah, no, it is a big, like, it's a big question for us as mentors and stuff as well. Is like, like, yes, we want to help people, but how much are we attached to that, and what have you. I'd love for you to come back on and pick a number if you have the time.
Okay, I will.
So yeah, we were just talking with Kristen Brown, and she's a mentor and a guide and a spiritual guide, and I want to just bring her back on, and she and I are going to pick a great number. She's going to pick a number for us, and we're going to go through something that's going to be brilliant. So stick around for that. What number do you got?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when you were talking to Catherine, I was thinking of a number and I thought of 41. And then my brain wanted to go to my favorite numbers, which was 17 and 27. So I'm going to go with 41 because that was my first hit.
I appreciate that. So, when a superior man hears of the Tao, he immediately begins to embody it. When an average man hears of the Tao, he half believes it and half doubts it. When a foolish man hears of the Tao, he laughs out loud. If he didn't laugh, it wouldn't be the Tao. Thus it is said, the path into the light seems dark, the path forward seems to go back, the direct path seems long, True power seems weak, true purity tarnished. True steadfastness seems changeable, true charity seems obscure. The greatest are the greatest are hold on. The greatest seems unsophisticated. The greatest art seems unsophisticated. The greatest love seems indifferent. The greatest wisdom seems childish. The Tao is nowhere to be found, yet it nourishes and completes all things.
Read the sentence that was after the path into the light seems dark. There was a sentence after that.
The path into the light seems dark. The path forward seems to go back. The direct path seems long. True power seems weak. True purity seems tarnished. True steadfastness seems changeable. True clarity seems obscure.
Right. So what's standing out to me is the path forward seems to go back. I can only say what that feels like for me. And that falls into the realm of spiritual surrender. Marianne Williamson said once that the true control that we only really have is surrender, which feels counterproductive because we're letting go. And being that we're people that are so used to doing, and creating and making things happen, I feel like that can almost feel like going backwards because we're having to stop this, what we believe is forward momentum by doing, and it might feel backwards when we learn to be.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about this whole concept of, this is very poignant, of course, I think. We were talking earlier about this concept of, like it's okay to use heroin, or it's okay to do these things that, may seem to pull you back. But that's the true path forward if it's your path.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I think that's very poignant and very, very much like part of our previous conversation where we were talking about like that aloneness. And yeah, being alone so you can be you may seem to go back from where you were just previously because you were in a relationship and you had all of these other things, but it's like you are rebuilding a foundation so that you can go forward.
And that's it. Yes, that's like nailed it. Like there's nothing I can really add to that.
Right.
It's like it could feel like going backwards too, when if someone is striving to get into this relationship and to have a relationship, and being me, my story was that it was always from one to the next to the next to the next. It wasn't it innocently, not me thinking that's just what you do. And it could feel backwards to people to embrace aloneness. I actually have a chapter in my book called Aloneness Equals Recreation Time, because so many people fight that aloneness. They don't want to be alone. And there's so much beauty that happens in that time if a person allows it to be what it is, and to do what they feel called to do. I mean, I really just let go. I was like, I do not know what this is going to look like. I didn't know how long it was going to be. It ended up being 2 years. I
And
didn't
it
know
may
that.
still be going on. Who knows?
Well, I'm not
right?
married for
Like there is no end. Like you're not dead. Shit ain't over.
Right. And it was in that time that I was like, I am just going to accept right now, for me, for Kristen Brown at that moment, that I was introspecting, and something was happening in relationships with me. It was like I kept attracting things that I was not happy with, and that was not reciprocally loving and respectful. And I wanted to figure that out. And I think that's what you're saying, is that I could still, that could have been my heroine, my still going from relationship to relationship to relationship. And at some point I said, yeah, this isn't working for me.
Right.
This is not working.
Mm-hmm.
This is not yielding the feel, the energy, the experience that I really, truly want. And I need to take a step back and figure this out in my way with God by my side. How am I going to do this? And just allowing what I called the graceful unfolding, because What?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it just kind of unfolded to where I saw myself one day doing something different. I responded rather than reacted, and the response was no response to
Right.
something. And I remember standing in the foyer of my mom's house, and I literally stopped dead in my tracks, and I went, wow, that was different.
Yeah.
That's not what I would typically do. I would have to, to do something, to say something, to try to get some semblance of control, to try to win, to try to whatever I was trying to do, trying to be right. And I just didn't need to anymore. And I truly believe it was through this time that I afforded myself to be
You know,
alone.
it's funny. I host a podcast, Recover Yourself. It's all about like long term, like profound recovery. And like I used to just interview people about their long term recovery. And one of the questions I would ask is like, have you ever experienced something that showed you had become a different person, and things like that are it. And people would tell me about stories when they would be responding to somebody in this way that is calm and with clarity, without like getting angry, without getting upset. And like that is how I kind of talk about this idea of clear thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like when you are triggered, you're not thinking clearly. But when you can approach one of those triggers and it no longer trigger you, you are recovering yourself and thinking clearly, because thinking clearly is all about thinking as you, not the ideas that you think you have, and the judgments that you think you carry, but who you are.
Right. And I call those blue sky moments when it seems so dark. And I remember this happening to me, just seeing this, like everything was so cloudy and dark and ominous. And then I would have this little tiny hole in the clouds where I could see the blue sky beyond it. And I said, oh, look at that. I forgot that there is blue sky after the storm. That,
Yeah, someone
that,
someone had mentioned to me the other day, like, what are you pretending not to know? What are you pretending to forget? Like, and it's like such a good
mm,
reminder, right? Like of like now that you're in this darkness, what are you pretending not to know? Because that you're
I
you know
love
that you're
that.
right. Like, yeah, it was
Ah,
it was awesome. I forget Andy Scarantino, once again, she told me that, but I don't know. And she hosts the Get the Fuck Off podcast, but she got it from somewhere else, and I can't recall where. But I want to go through this really quick, and I like to relate the end back to the beginning always. And the last line here is, the Tao is nowhere to be found, yet it nourishes and completes all things. Of course, we are all born complete, but it is the experiences that we have that nourish and complete us. They complete our experience, right? And that brings us to, through the linear to death, right? And that's kind of how I always look at complete. It's not like it is giving you anything you don't have, but it is having you have experiences like those dark days that bring you into the light. That is an
mm-hmm,
experience that you have that completes you. It brings you to a new level. And so that's
mm-hmm,
how I look at completing. Of course, you are perfect at this moment, but in order to get there, in order to understand that deeper, you have to go through this experience. And that's how I see, because I know, like, sometimes I say, oh, well, we are all complete. Yes, we are complete in the sense that we don't need anything, but these experiences complete us in this different way. So I wanted to remind us of that before I go back into this first stanza, which says, when a superior man hears of the Tao, he immediately begins to embody it. When an average man hears of the Tao, he half believes it, half doubts it. When a foolish man hears of the Tao, he laughs out loud. If he didn't laugh, it wouldn't be the Tao. Now, we haven't really talked about any of that yet. What are your thoughts there?
Well, a helicopter was going overhead, so I muted. So I was
Ah,
focusing on when that helicopter was done so I could
okay.
unmute. So,
I gotcha. I'll read it again. When a superior man hears of the Tao, he immediately begins to embody it. When an average man hears of the Tao, he half believes it, half doubts it. When a foolish man hears of the Tao, he laughs out loud. If he didn't laugh, it wouldn't be the Tao.
I have a lot of thoughts coming up with that. I go with the first sentence when what is that one again? When the
superior man hears of the Tao, he immediately begins to embody it.
So I'm not sure about the word superior, because that feels like that's some type of judgment too. But I feel like when to me this might sound like reconnecting to source. It's when, like you were talking about with the quote that the other person said to you about what are you forgetting, what do you remember, what are you forgetting to remember, what was it?
Yeah, what are you forgetting? Yeah, well, I
To
forget.
know. What are you
Yeah,
forgetting
what are you
to know?
forgetting? Yeah, what are you forgetting that you know? Right.
Right. Well, during this dark night of the soul for me, I had had a nervous breakdown basically in the middle of the night. And as I was laying there, and my ears were ringing so loud, it was like a train rushing through. Like I could not. I started laughing because I'm like, this is bottom. This is bottom. So I'm laying on the ground 3 o'clock in the morning with my kids asleep upstairs, and I'm laughing to myself and going, okay, well, this is bottom. I can go nowhere else but up. But in that moment, I remembered God. I was like, wait a minute, I'm trying to do this from my humanness. I'm trying to seek help from people. No one can help me. Nothing can help me through this. And it was in that moment that I remembered God. But it's kind of funny that I started laughing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I
It
mean,
was like,
that's exaltation, right? Like that's you just allowing yourself to be and allowing it to be a part of you.
it was like the ultimate letting go. When this whole situation that was scaring me to death became funny to me. It was like the moment that I let go.
Yeah.
In some strange way. I mean, who knew? What do you think of that first part of it?
Well, that first part, like this first part, it when you have people, and we could replace Tao with God here. When the superior man hears of God, he immediately begins to embody that which is God, right? When the average man hears of God, and they say superior, average, foolish here, and I don't think that it's a judgment. It's just, what is your reaction to this? Like,
Yeah,
if your reaction to God is to laugh and then just be like, no, we are living in a mechanized world, right? It is not spiritual, it is not magical. And you laugh at the concept, that means it's true. Because if they didn't laugh, it wouldn't be God. Like, God can't be perceived, it can't be conceived, it can't be written about. Like, that which is God, that which is all knowing and all powerful, cannot just be described in a book. It is so much more than that.
so you've worded that foolish part how I was feeling but couldn't find words for. So thank you. Yes, I
Mm.
agree with this. As you're speaking, I'm like, yeah, that's what I was feeling but couldn't find the words for.
Yeah, and it's not, I don't look at this as judgment. I don't look at the Tao as being a space where there's judgment, but it's like,
Right, right.
this is where, like, if you tell someone about the Tao and they laugh at it, it is not going to do you any good to try and get them to understand.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, and that's why, like, what we're looking for as guides are average people who half believe it, half doubt it, and then we want to bring them into themselves.
Right. Right. That's 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be an openness involved.
Yes.
I've noticed
Thank
that
you
along my
so
journey.
much. Thank
Oh,
you so much. Oh, Kristen, I appreciate you coming on. This will get posted on the Tao of the Day podcast as well, just so you know. I do that as well. If anybody else wants to come on and give me a number, feel free. In the meantime, I'm going to continue talking about 42. So we've covered 59, 41, and now I'm going to go back into. Oh, we do have somebody. Ari. Ari's going to be joining me. I love it when Ari joins me. 3, 2, and how are you?
Good morning, beautiful human. How are you?
Oh, good morning, beautiful. I am doing very well, having a wonderful day today with Adele, and I feel good today. I did a great meditation earlier today, and I feel connected and I feel grounded, which has been something that's been escaping me as of late. So I appreciate your asking, and I appreciate feeling the way I do.
Awesome. I love
Yeah.
that for you. Oh, no. I think she just picked the number
Oh, what was it?
27.
27. Yep, it's over here. Oh, wow. Interesting. We're gonna go through this, and this is if you like, this is interesting because this was the number that I was talking earlier at the beginning of my talk. I was talking about I woke up to this because a friend of mine, Andy Scarantino, posted this on her Instagram, and I read this, and I didn't really go through it. I just read through it because it's such a beautiful one. And so, a good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever it wants. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. No, actually, you know what? This isn't the one I read earlier. My bad. Thus, the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand this, you will get lost, however intelligent you are. It is the great secret. Like, so I am going to revert to my initial statement. Yes, this is the one that I read earlier. I don't know why I keep going back and forth on that, but it is. So, initial thoughts on that.
um, could you reread the part for me about what was it exactly that you said? Um, Not leaving anybody behind.
Not leaving anybody behind. The master is available
No.
to all people and doesn't reject anyone. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste a thing. This is called embodying the light.
So I think what for me is interesting about this is that I was having a conversation yesterday about feeling as though I had been giving so much and not receiving,
Mm,
that I was feeling empty.
yeah.
My cup not runneth over. Um, but in that moment when I said it, I had like this kind of visceral reaction to saying that. It was almost like negative self-talk,
hmm
where I was like, you're being selfish in this moment.
Yeah, it's interesting, like because we start here and we'll go through this now line by line. And we'll get to that middle part in a minute. A good traveler, has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. Initial thoughts on that?
I keep trying to unmute myself and then it tries to get me to leave. Um,
Don't
I
leave.
won't leave. I'm not going
Good.
anywhere. Um, I mean, that rings so true to me. I feel like anytime I make a plan, the road takes me in a different direction, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because to me, that relates so much to the idea of expectation.
Right.
I have a tattoo on my collarbone right above my heart that says act without expectation.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Because it's,
We're all travelers here living our lives.
yeah. And I mean, I'm not one to say that like everything is predestined,
Mm-mm.
but I think the more that we try to control the journey, the less control we actually end up having over it.
Yeah, I saw something the other day that said like you can't fuck up that which is meant for you.
That part.
That's
That
beautiful.
part.
A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever it wants. No, that's all right.
It's true.
Yeah.
I was having another conversation yesterday. You know, I work in music and manage artists, and
Yep.
having a conversation with an artist just about artistic integrity, right? And there becomes this battle of checking boxes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes within the process of the box checking, the artistic integrity could potentially be compromised because of opinion,
Right.
not because of proof of concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Preconceived notion versus proof of concept.
And identity and all of the things that are
Yeah.
attached to this, like having a fixed plan.
Yep.
A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. And me kind of living, from the space of recovery, as like all of that again just comes down to like, do you have fixed plans? Do you have ideas for what you want to see in this as the results, or are you open to seeing what is actually happening?
Yeah. Act without expectation.
That's
If we
right.
have if we have an expectation of what it should be, what is our reaction when the result is not that?
Right. Once you have fixed plans and you're intent upon arriving, and then you can't do that because your intuition is locked up in your preconceived ideas, you're not going to actually present the work as it is. You're going to present what you think you're experiencing, and you're not open to it.
Yeah, perception is a motherfucker, huh?
I'll tell you, oh my God, it's the thing that, my workshops are all about, like, opening up to understanding and becoming aware of our perceptions. So, that's a big, big thing for me. Now we get to this part that we reread. Thus the master, because of all that, because a good traveler has no fixed plans, because an artist lets his intuition lead him, and because a scientist has freed himself of concepts, they are available to all people and don't reject anyone. Thoughts?
Knowledge is free, experience is free.
Yeah. We are then available to all beings, all things, all people, and don't reject anyone or anything. We allow them to be who they are because we don't have fixed plans. If somebody is, you know, if somebody gets in an accident on the expressway 6 miles ahead of us, and then we're sitting here in traffic for 2 hours, but we don't have any fixed plans, we're not going to be angry at those people or be angry that we're in traffic because those things existed.
Yeah.
We'll be able to be here and be present with what is. And the next line, he is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. So you use that situation as a way to experience something. Maybe you pull off the side of the road and take a nap. Maybe you just maybe you sit in traffic and enjoy music or think or be present. You use that situation to the best of your ability. And even if you get angry, you use that to explore yourself and explore your anger.
Those uncomfortable moments.
Yeah, like they're uncomfortable, but they're ours. And there are ways that we can use those uncomfortable moments in order to grow from it. He's ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. We are here not to waste that. That is our time. That is our life. And we could look at it as like, you're wasting my life, but it's actually us who are allowing this situation to be wasted.
I mean, it's purely a personal mindset thing, right?
That's right. Right. And it's about having no fixed plans. It's about letting your intuition lead you where it wants you to go, and about like freeing yourself of the old concepts of like, oh, well, this should only take 2 hours, but it's taking me 6. Well, that's an old concept. Keep your mind open to what is right now. And then you won't have those preconceived ideas of what is supposed to be. And this is called embodying the light. So now we get into the final part of this, which says, what is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? What do you think about that?
I mean, to me, it's like it's a statement on responsibility, right? A good,
Continue.
like, a bad man should be open enough to be present enough to learn from the good man, but it is the good man's job to redirect the bad. I mean, to me, it's like it's more of a statement about collectivism than it is anything else, right?
I look at it as like, if we're in traffic and angry, that's us being the bad man, being the man that is not able to use this situation. The good man is in us and can guide us out of that.
Yeah.
You know, like we do have both sides, right? There are times where we do something and then we're not happy that we did it. Well, that part of us that is not happy that we did it is now the teacher of the part of us that did it. And we get to continue asking ourselves, where do we hold these perceptions? What are we holding on to? What can we do to embrace and expand our experience right now? Maybe we can call somebody and get advice. Maybe we can be present in this moment and feel through it. But what is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? And there are no good and bad men. There are people that are just living right now. You know, and don't forget, what is a good man but a good traveler has no fixed plans. A good artist lets his intention lead him wherever it wants. A good scientist, these are the good men. And those are the good people within us. It's not talking about someone else, I don't think. I look at this verse as talking about, how do we continue to grow? And the next line is, if you don't understand this, you will get lost, however intelligent you are. It is the great secret. And it is that we have our own answers. And we guide ourselves through all of this. And that we have both the good and the bad within us, because neither of those things exist. Both those things are just judgments.
Duality is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Especially when you can get out of it. Especially when you can recognize it. Especially
Yeah.
when you can see that, like, oh, I feel bad because I feel good. You know, those things can't mutually exist without each other.
Yeah. All of those cliche statements. How do
Yeah.
you know love if you've never lost?
Right? That's true.
But it all points back to number 27, I guess.
Yeah, so much of it does, you know, like, so, and this is, you know, this is the Tao, so it's not like it resides only here, but this one is a good one, and we are all traveling, and we're all going through, and whatever is going on right now, we can allow our intuition to guide us, and we don't have to have a destination in mind, and then we don't know that this situation that we find ourselves is good or bad. It's just is, and we can just be here, not having plans of where to go, free ourselves of our old concepts, and allow our intuition to guide us. And that is the good man teaching the bad man. Ari, thank you so much for joining me. I love you so
Thanks,
much. I'm so
Marjon.
glad that we
I love
have
you
been able
too.
to connect and be here. And, you know, I look forward to connecting with you again.
Same, ditto. Thanks for this one. I gotta meditate on this one. I think it
Yeah.
hit me in like a deep spot, a heavy spot, and I can feel myself processing right now. It just like hit me right in my sacral center.
That's true.
You have a beautiful day, brother. You be
You
well.
too. You as well. Ugh. That's it's always beautiful to connect and to present the Tao to people, because when you pick a number, that is your number, and that is the thing that you need to hear right now. I was reading 42, and I'm going to go back to that because I know I was talking about the male and the female and the house and the space. All things have their backs to the female and stand facing the male. The male, as I was talking about earlier, is the structure, and the female is the space. The female is the thing you use, right? The male is the cup. The male is what the Tao gives birth to. The Tao gives birth to the space, gives birth to the structure, right? The quantum field. The Tao gives birth to the quantum field. That's one. And then one gives birth to two, which is this space that we get to exist in. And that gives birth to three, which is us, consciousness, which can create all things. All things have their back to the female while they stand facing the male. We face the structure of everything. We can't see anything but structure, right? Everything we can't see is what we stand with our backs to, right? Our backs to the female, standing facing the male. When these two combine, which they are combined in our experience right now, right? Like I am in a house. The structure of the house is the male, and I am using the space within. So I'm using the female. And when that happens, all things achieve harmony. There's just harmony everywhere. Now we get into this part about solitude. Ordinary men hate solitude, but the master makes use of it, embracing his aloneness, realizing he is at one with the whole universe. You are constantly surrounded by and in harmony. You are surrounded by the Tao, and thus you are in harmony. Whether or not you are alone, or whether you have someone right next to you, there is no difference. You are here in this space, embracing aloneness. Make use of your aloneness and realize that you're at one with the universe, at one with the Tao, at one with that which gave birth to all things, right? That which gave birth to one, and that one was the masculine, that two, the feminine, and that three, the experience of those two together. That's harmony. That's you, and that's all things. We are always in harmony. We're always connected. We're always loved. And I love you. I'm Martin John. I host the Recover Yourself podcast. I work with clients on a very short-term basis. I work with my clients only 4 times. It is all about bringing awareness into your life, and your life will change dramatically after 4 sessions. And they're not individual sessions; they are continuing. They're a continual suite. It is all about you getting out and living your life. I don't want you hanging out with me all the time. I don't want you getting codependent with me. I want you to live your life. And so if you're sick of living the life for other people, if you're sick of living under the influence of your partner, if you're sick of living under the influence of fear and pain and pressure and your boss and your parents and everybody else, let's get you on the path to recovering yourself, because you are perfect. And we just want to get you to understand that. We want to get you to see that and get you to stop lying to yourself and living under the influence of other things. And that's what I do. I do it well. I've done it on here a couple times, and if you ever give me a call, I'd love to give you a little taste of what it looks like to start recovering yourself. You can contact me through my website, martinjon, martinjon.com, or you can work with me through Satnam Yoga Chicago if you are in the Chicagoland area. Otherwise, I work with people through Zoom, and you can contact me once again at martinjon.com. I take financial support through Venmo at martinjon_Garcia. So if you benefit from any of this, please consider supporting my efforts. I love working here on wisdom and on the Tao and with the Tao and with you. So definitely reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook or any of the other connections that you can find here, and I would be happy to connect with you. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.